All right, sorry for the delay. Um, Gunshots are probably the big thing of the day. We had a couple of different calls on that. The first one, the aggravated assault, that was about 1:50 a.m. this morning, and that was in the 1200 block of West 10th Street. We had 6 people that were inside a home, and all of a sudden they heard some gunshots. They ended up basically ducking and taking cover. The house was hit 4 times, and there was I think there was something outside that may have been hit, like a wall or something like that. So no injuries to anybody, but there certainly was a possibility there could have been. I think a couple of the bullets went through windows, so obviously it was easy to enter the house. So no arrests on that. I think somebody had some blurry video of a car driving by, and I don't know, there wasn't a whole lot of details with that. So we'll be looking at that, trying to figure out, obviously, the people that are responsible. And we've had some other shootings at other houses. I don't know that there's any way that we could determine if they're related or if they're different incidents. We had, let's see, another house was shot, and this was just so that was about 1:50 a.m. This other one was about 6:20 a.m. and that was in the 400 block of South Summit Avenue. That was 4 gunshots. There was a couple of shell casings that were found there. That was, I think a fence was damaged, and I think there was a round or two that hit a car, or I'm sorry, hit a house as well. No, I'm sorry, this one. Yeah, there was, I think it was probably the house was targeted, but was not hit. There was a fence that was next to the house that was hit several times. And that one, there was a couple of people that gave some descriptions of different vehicles, but we don't know if they were involved or not. So, again, no injuries on that one. And we had one more gunshot call. That was just some gunshots that were heard, and that was around 6:30 this morning. This is in the 200 block of North Dominic Circle. And that's, they had officers that checked the area, didn't find any damage to anything, didn't have any reports of any damage, couldn't find any shell casings. So those are the 3 gunshots we had. The aggravated assault, we had a domestic, a strangulation case. We had another one, it's basically a report. There was some type of dispute or argument, and we had some witnesses that thought a person may have been hit by a car. We're not sure. She wasn't really very cooperative with police, so we'll still work on that one. And then the last one, that was a guy that showed up at the hospital with a knife wound, and he was briefly seen by medical staff and then took off before police arrived. So we're still looking for him. The wound was described as non-life-threatening. The assault was a domestic. Burglaries, nothing big out of those. A couple of cars and houses and apartments. Counterfeiting was a fake 20 that was found. That was passed at a casino. No arrests on that. The disorderlies, the only thing big out of the disorderlies was yesterday morning. That was about 9 a.m. There was a woman that was sitting out at a patio downtown outside a business, and a man walked past and made a comment that he was going to kiss her and went to grab her. She stood up, was able to back away, and said she was calling police. So he never actually touched her, and then he continued on his way. He was found nearby and arrested for disorderly conduct, and he didn't really give much of a reason why he was doing that. We haven't had any other similar reports. The embezzlement was a car that was loaned out. The family offenses, really nothing big from those. Most of those are protection order violations. The frauds are all reports. The gunshot call, that was at Dominic Circle. The larcenies, quite a few unlocked cars. We did have a handgun that was taken from one unlocked car, but outside of that, really nothing big. Narcotics, no big quantities on those. The sex offenses was a sex offender that didn't register. Simple assaults were just that. Nothing serious, nothing big from the the unattended death, nothing suspicious from there. And the weapons, the vandalisms were cars, basically. A couple of tires that were slashed, another car was damaged, and then apartment had a glass door shot with a BB gun. But
Anything concentrated in one area?
nope, nothing in one area.
Have you guys seen quite a few car break-ins lately? Or is it
It's
relative? Or?
it's all, yeah, I mean, you're talking like unlocked cars.
Yeah.
I'd say that's probably the number one crime that we deal with, and that happens all throughout the year. It increases more during nicer weather. So obviously we've got nicer weather now. We're starting to see more of those unlocked cars, but it's a problem throughout the year. It's not just a nice weather crime.
And even if people, I mean, a lot of people have surveillance at their homes now, Ring, whatever the case may be, and if they have that, what's the best option for that? To get you guys a hold of that, or
Yeah.
people in the neighborhood know?
Yeah, and if we get a lot of information from those home surveillance systems, and most of them are fairly decent quality. There are some that the quality just isn't there to be able to identify people, but they're more and more common, and especially when you have one car that's broke into in a block, there's a good chance that there may be others, or at least people are trying other car doors. And so there's times when we'll get notified by people. The officers, when they go on calls like this, that's one of the first things they do now is look to see if there's cameras in the area and try to contact a homeowner. If people see that type of stuff, I'd encourage them to get a hold of Crime Stoppers. The Crime Stoppers P3 app, they're able to submit those videos and pictures right through that app. I think videos. I know they can do pictures, but if they send a Crime Stoppers tip, that goes right to detectives. The detectives obviously know what cases are in the areas that they work, and so they can get hold of the homeowner and work to get copies of that video. But there's a lot of people that are reaching out to us with video. Sometimes it's people that are checking car doors, sometimes it's people that are getting into cars. And depends on where the camera is and where the people are, but sometimes we can see, but we can't identify the people, and there's other times we have really good images and are able to identify the suspects.
Are you aware of any, is OnStar, is that help find cars, or is there anything in cars, or certain cars that can be found easier because they have a tracking device on it?
Maybe is the answer to that. So and I'm not up on all the OnStar stuff, but my understanding is you have to have an active account with OnStar. If you don't have the account, they won't do anything after a car's been stolen. But if there is OnStar there and a car has been stolen, they can pinpoint it, and we have luck finding those. But there's not a lot of cars with OnStar that I'm aware of that are being stolen and then recovered after that. And that goes to another thing, is the cars that are being stolen, probably 95% of them have keys left in them. So it's a crime of convenience, and unfortunately the people are just making it too easy for the criminals. I don't want to victim shame at all, but if people would take their keys and lock their cars, the amount of stolen vehicles we have would drop considerably. Same thing with the thefts from vehicles. If people would lock their cars, the number of thefts we have would drop considerably. It's not to say that you can't break a window, because we certainly see crimes like that where a car is locked, but you may have a purse or a laptop inside, and somebody breaks a window, takes those items, and then goes. So it's not going to prevent all crime. It's going to prevent the easy crime, and that's what a lot of the thieves are doing, is they're looking for those unlocked cars and just helping themselves.
Do you have anything from last night from, I think it's Hyannis Port Lane, Hyannis?
Let me look. I didn't. See anything. How do you spell that again?
Hyannis. Fort Lane.
I don't see any calls on that street.
Okay.
Do you have a time?
11:15 p.m.
Mm-hmm. 11 p.m. last night, right? I don't see any calls around that time to that street name. Anything else?
Last thing.
Yeah.
If someone were to encounter someone, stealing a car, doing something else, and the person doing it is armed, right, and they were to come to it, what's your best advice? What should they do?
Well, first, if people see crime taking place or something where if it's suspicious, I guess, that's what we always say. If you see something, say something. So if they see suspicious activity or they see an actual crime taking place, we don't want people confronting anybody because there is always a chance that that person may be armed. We've seen people that have been impaired from drugs or alcohol, and they can be unpredictable. And so for those reasons, we always tell people, just be a good witness, call police, call 911, get the details, pass those along, and let the officers get there and handle it. There are some times when people feel the need to intervene, and for the most part, we really haven't had any issues, any problems with that. But if somebody were to confront a person and then they show some type of weapon, whether it's a gun or a knife or whatever, the best thing they'd do is get out of that situation. Get out of that area, get yourself to a safe place, and call police once you're in that safe area. Anything else? Okay, thanks.